We're going to take a trip down memory lane with the Nintendo handheld systems and their games. Starting in 1989, the Nintendo Game Boy was introduced. The big, gray, thick console. Some of the major games that came out for this console were Pokemon Blue, Red, and Yellow, Pokemon Pinball with the Rumble Pack feature, and Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. It's a very big and heavy console and started it all. Moving on, in 1998, the Nintendo Game Boy Color was introduced, featuring color with blue, reds, and yellows and such, coming in multiple different colors, such as see-through and yellow. Some games for that were Frogger 2, Stunt Rally, Lego, and All-Star Baseball. The Game Boy Color was also compatible with Game Boy games, so you could use all your old games on the brand new system. 2 years later, in 2000, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance was introduced. With its new thin, sleek, wide design and new speakers, and the LR button, the new buttons. It also featured a link cable, just like the Game Boy Color did. You could play all classic games, all the way back to Pokemon Blue to Frogger 2. Featuring the new small compact gaming cases known as Game Boy Advance games. Some famous games for that were Donkey Kong Country 2, Pirates of the Caribbean, Super Mario Bros. 3, Sonic 3, Sonic, and Sonic 2. Moving on 2 years later again, the Game Boy Advance SP was invented with its new sleek, foldable pocket-sized design. You could play just like every game the Game Boy Advance could, also featuring a backlight, so you could light up without having to go out and buy new ones. You could use the same games, and some of the famous games for the SP were Kirby and the Amazing Year, Pac-Man Collection, Mega Man 3, White or Blue, and Banjo-Kazooie. Finally, 2 years later, the Nintendo DS was invented in 2004, featuring two new buttons, the X and the Y button, a power button that you must hold so you don't actually shut off your game. You could play all games up to the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Color and Game Boy games were not compatible. Featuring the brand new touchscreen, upper screen, and microphone, games were very much more innovative. I have many DS games, as you can see, but we'll just go over some of the famous ones. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time, or Blue Rescue Team, Metroid Prime Hunters, Legend of Zelda, Phantom Hourglass, and Metroid Prime Pinball. Metroid Prime Pinball came with the Rumble Pack, which first dated back on Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy. On the Nintendo DS, you could do more than just play games. You had your two touch screens. We'll use a stylus. There are multiple different stylus designs. You could use your programming. It had a clock, a calendar, download player where you could download short demos of your friends' games and do real live multiplayer, and a new feature called PictoChat. PictoChat is a conversation tool, kind of like Windows Live Messenger or something. You could either tap letters and then touch send, or you could draw a fancy picture, or use the D-pad to do all this, except the drawing. Very innovative IMing system. You have to shut off your system right after. Also, you had multiple settings you could config. Down here on the bottom, you had the DS backlight. Over here, you had an alarm system. In this very bottom, you had your DS settings. Your DS settings pop up. Start over here. With that, you could choose your English. I'm going to keep it on English. Then you would come over here and go to continue. It saves it to English. Then you can choose where your Game Boy Advance games would appear. Top screen or bottom screen. It would save your settings. Also, auto start or manual start. Manual start is where if a game is in or not, you still have to go to the main screen, such as this. Auto start is if a game's in here, it automatically starts, which was a brand new feature for the handheld systems of Nintendo. Then you had your calendar, clock, and alarm systems. You'd set your time and date and such. Over here you had your pretty much personal information. You could write a short note for all your friends in PictoChat. Or you could pick your nickname. Also, you could choose a different color from the DS rim. You could have blue, or orange, or yellow, or green. Also, you'd set up your birthday here. Then finally, the last setting you can use and config was the DS touchscreen calibration. You would touch the very center of this dot, and it would calibrate your touchscreen. Then you'd hit confirm. The touchscreen has been calibrated. When all is done, you must shut down your system. By far, the Nintendo DS is the most innovative system ever for handhelding games. So, it pretty much all started in 1989, building up to 2004. The history of Nintendo portable gaming. This has been presented by Mudkip1443, and all systems are owned by me. All these product rights go to Nintendo and such, and, well, this has been a good time, and I'm out.